Amazing. So welcome everybody again to this introductory session with Careem. Localized is thrilled to be welcoming Careem to our platform to recruit great early stage tech and business talent from across the region. This event is a great opportunity to find out about what it's like to work at Careem, the culture, the organizational values, and the chances for career growth that you can get by joining such a fantastic team. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Careem. I live in Egypt. I've seen the organization start from a small player to become a true regional powerhouse. So I'm personally very excited to be included in this event. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to the Careem team to introduce themselves.
Perfect. I'll go first. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the session. My name is Harshna. I help lead on employer brand efforts at Careem. I'll take you in a little bit of what that means when we get into the slides. But I've been with Careem for about 3 years now. And personally, I had a baby about 9 months ago. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. And over to Violet. Let's next. Go.
Hey everyone, thanks for taking the time to be here. My name is Violet. I lead culture and community at Careem, and I'm super excited to take you through the journey later on in our call and let you know all about our culture and values.
I'll go next. Hi everyone, my name is Neha. I'm part of the corporate TA team here at Careem. I've been here just a little bit over 2.5 years, and I specialize in recruiting across different functions, so strategy, ops, account management. I'm a qualified electrical engineer, and I've been in the recruitment industry for the past 6 years in Middle East. Over to Fawad.
Hey guys, I'm part of the talent acquisition team at Careem here, specifically focused on the tech side of things. I'm really excited to be here, really looking forward to partnering with everyone. And I joined a little bit late, but I guess Alessandra, if you haven't gone yet.
Hi everyone, I'm Alessandra. I'm also part of Tech Talent Acquisition. So we're really excited to share with you as part of this presentation a little bit of what we've been doing, especially when it comes to hiring graduates. So I'll pass you over to Harris, who is our expert in that space.
Thank you, Alessandra. Hi everyone, nice to meet all of you. I'm Haris, originally from Pakistan, currently based in Dubai. Been associated with Careem for the last 3.5 years. Overall, I've got over 7 years of experience recruiting engineers across the Middle East and North Africa, and looking forward to walking you through the interview process that we have here at Careem on how we ensure that we hire the best next generation of engineers from the region. I'll pass it over to one of our next generation engineers, Irtaza.
My name is Irsa, and I'm a backend engineer at Careem. I am a part of the Next Gen program, as Harris mentioned, and I just joined about 6 months ago. It's been a great experience. And something about myself, I love talking about backend. I love doing backend. And yeah, that's pretty much all. Not sure if someone from Careem's team is left.
Harshana, do you want to kick off? I think we're all done with our intros.
Yeah, perfect. Violet, would you mind sharing the screen, please? We'll get right to the beginning in a second. So hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you all. Well, virtually meet you all in the new world that we live in. My name is Harshna, as I mentioned a bit earlier, and I help look after employer brand at Careem. So what I'll do today is just give you a brief introduction of who we are and what and how this journey started. So actually, I'd like to start by sharing a little bit of a story about our founders. And we do this quite nicely at our onboarding. which will give you a bit of perspective of why our purpose is so very important to us. So one of our founders, Magnus, was, as you know, as I don't know if some of you know this, but both our founders come from consulting backgrounds. And they both used to work at McKinsey. And one of those meetings, our founder, Magnus, had a blackout, he suddenly blacked out for a few seconds. And then he came back down, and then he said, okay, maybe it's just, consultants, they don't sleep very much. So he blamed it on that. He went back home that evening, and he spoke to his father, who happened to be a doctor, and said, no amount of tiredness should go get it checked. And found out that he actually had a bleed in his brain, an aneurysm, and he had to get it treated immediately to survive. Long story short, he survived. He had a 15% chance of survival, actually. It came through, but what that also did was it gave him a newfound respect for his life and also an urge to do something meaningful. So, well, if you could just skip into a couple of slides ahead, please, just to a crazy dream. That's me. So what happened was that he started thinking about what does his purpose mean, right? Like, what does that really mean? So he literally Googled it, and it said, well, go to Thailand, go to India, trying to figure out what that is. He went to Thailand, sat in a cave, no purpose was found. Then a little while later, he met his colleague Mudassir in Dubai, and they both came around and they agreed that what they wanted to do was, simplify the lives of people. That turned out to be with their purpose. And a few years later, that's how Careem was born, and started with a crazy dream, which was to simplify the lives of people and build an awesome organization that inspires. If you go on the next slide, please, Violet. That's how that purpose came about to be. And it started very simply to simplify the lives of people, consultants, getting from one place to another. Now, back in the day, it wasn't easy to get around. And, I could actually share this entire story on a documentary a little later. And Ahmed, I'll pass it on to you. So if you could circulate it to everyone, I highly recommend it. It'll walk you through exactly how it went through. But if we go to the next slide, I'll quickly run through some of our milestones to that journey. So we were founded in 2012. It's very soon after we launched in Qatar and Saudi. Fun fact, we were the first company to have our Capitina, which is the first female captain. Very proud of that. Then soon after, we launched in other markets in Egypt, Morocco, Pakistan. And Harris will tell you, we have some of our best tech talent all sitting in Pakistan. So go Pakistan. Then we became, in 2017, sorry, I'm skipping through a few things. We launched Careem Kids, which is a big one. Again, the first company to do that, have a safe journey for children to travel in. We launched in Jordan. 2017 was a big one. We became the region's first unicorn, which we all know is huge. And that's how the region as a startup industry, the noise started picking up then. Next slide, please. Cool. And then the journey goes on. Okay, so we launched, as I mentioned very briefly earlier, our first MENAs in Saudi. We launched our food business. In 2019 was a huge milestone for us. We're also the first private company to actually partner up with the government and make the taxi industry, or as we call them here, Hala taxis, they became a part of the Careem. So you could actually book an RTA Hala taxi through Careem, which was a big one. We reached 10 million trips that year. We launched Careem Bikes, again, a huge piece for our micro-mobility business. And in 2020, which again was first for the region, we were acquired by Uber for 3.1 billion, which again, woohoo, go Careem. Soon after, we launched a couple of other things, our marketplace model, right? So it became more than just a ride-hailing app. And this is where we started realizing the potential. We spoke about bikes a little earlier. We started introducing the app partners such as Just Life. During COVID, this was crucially helpful because people could get vaccinated at the comfort of their homes and even get COVID tested. Then in 2022, we launched our quick dark store business. And then soon after, we even launched Careem Pay. And very recently, we also celebrated 10 years of Careem. Violet helped lead that initiative. She'll walk you through that. And very proud to share last year, we had a huge investment from E&, or as many of you will know as Etisalat, of 400 million. So that's our short but honey so far. And we're very, very pleased to be a part of that. And, you know, we're excited to see where that goes ahead. So a couple of things that, you know, when we internally talk about work, right? So we measure the way we do things in the form of impact. So some of the things that we're really proud of sharing is that, you know, we simplified mobility for millions of people, especially women. It's such a huge market that didn't have that option before. And it's crazy to think that now, considering how quickly I can just book a cab and say, okay, I'm out, bye. You know, it's important to know that we simplified that in the region. Our captains earned, and we open up their lives to that. You know, big gig economy is big in the US. We're proud to share that we brought some of that here in the region. And the big thing that we believe is a huge one, and it's not something we shout too much about, but we're very proud of, is that so many of our colleagues who actually came to Careem, and you know, a lot of times we're seen as a training ground. They left us starting their own incredible organizations. And now sometimes we're referred to as the Careem Mafia, those that exit the organizations because of the amazing work that they did at Careem. So those are just some of the bits at our business. And before I go, I'll end with one last slide. Violet, if you could push the next one, please. Thank you. So again, just bringing back to a huge manifestation of our purpose. What do we want to achieve? One, our goal is to simplify the lives of people's lives daily. So whether that's calling someone to help clean up your house, whether that's getting your groceries, or even picking up your medicines, all of that we want to try and simplify with a simple tap, or even send money home, right? So all of those things you can do through Careem. We want to add lower costs to add services across markets. So make it simple, make it cheaper, and make it accessible. And the biggest one now, and as you know, we're a tech-driven platform, so make it a high-value tech-driven platform. Yeah, so that's a little bit about us, just an introduction to Careem. I'll now pass it over to Violet, who'll walk you through some of our values, our culture that we follow, one of which you can see behind me. And yeah, happy to take any questions after. Thanks, guys. Over to you, Violet.
Thanks, Harsh. So everyone's super excited to be here. I think this is an awesome opportunity to take a look at who Careem is, our culture and our values, and just re-emphasizing that we are a purpose-driven organization. The words that you see on this slide, we don't just take them lightly. We drive impact in everything we do every day. And I think as we take a look at how crazy and wild the world is, when you come to Careem, you know that you're going to be surrounded by an environment and a community of colleagues that are deeply passionate about making a difference. And I think that's a really key differentiator at Careem. So let's go into Values 4.0. Careem is a very much values-driven organization, and I'll get into how we don't just say that we are, we really incorporate our values into everything that we do. And in our 12-year journey, we've gone through several iterations. And when you are taking a look at Careem, you will see that values are part of our day-to-day, how we talk, how we interact. And it's a really beautiful environment to be in because everyone is truly living by these values. They determine our long-term success. They guide our behaviors and decisions. And when followed at scale, shared values can unleash our organization. So pretty much it's like the shared language at Careem. And our 6 powerful values are owners, not employees, to the moon and beyond. And we take a look at this, you will often hear at Careem, this is your Careem, you can take ownership over it. And I think that's what makes Careem a very exciting place to be. You will often speak to colleagues who have their goals and they have their job description. That's great, but at this point, we want everyone to know that this is their organization. So if you see a potential in an idea, or you want to carry something that perhaps is outside of your job description, you will be supported to do that at Careem. When we're talking about to the moon and beyond, this is our ambition level. So we want all colleagues to think about, yes, we reach unicorn status. We started with ride hailing, and now we have so many different services that we have on our platform. What is the next big idea? Don't just stay inside the box, and you will be supported to make that happen. When we take a look at every experience matters, this is taking a look at our customers and ensuring that we are really taking responsibility for people's daily lives. And as Harsh mentioned, There are so many different services. You need to get from point A to point B. You need to get there on time. If you're trying to put dinner on the table, you can come to Careem and order all of that food to make sure that your family has that beautiful experience when you're eating dinner. And it goes on and on. So we really believe that we want to simplify and improve the lives of people. And this is how every experience matters comes to life. Committed to developing each other, we really believe in the power of feedback and gifting that and seeing that as a gift so that everyone is continuously improving so that we have a really high bar on excellence and mastery. Responsible for our communities, this is really a core part of our purpose, and it's thinking about how we're giving back to the community. So we already do that every day at Careem, but we really ask our colleagues to think about how they're making a difference and even a small gesture to going and thinking about how we're volunteering our time and our resources. And building a lasting institution. So everyone knows the tech industry. It's ambitious, it's wild. There are so many different tech organizations out there. The competition is high. We want to make sure that Careem is going to last beyond our lifetime. So let's get into culture and community, the fun stuff at Careem. Careem is an incredibly fun place to work. And I'm not just saying that because it's fun. I've been here for 3 years. Of course, I lead culture and community. I will take you through a couple different pictures and videos to show when you come to Careem. This is an incredible opportunity for you to build those networks, those connections, and to constantly level up your skill set. And when we take a look at what our priorities are, we definitely want to build a strong sense of belonging and community. We facilitate social connection, so you have those trusting relationships for you to not only have strong bonds on your team, but to connect and collaborate with other colleagues so that everyone is constantly learning from each other so that we can hit our ambitious goals and targets. It's really important to drive values understanding. So I took you through the values. We'll see a video on Values Fest, which was our first ever one-day conference. Every single colleague at Careem participated. It was a really incredible day. And that's just to show that the more that we are in tune with our values, the more that we're able to achieve our ambitious purpose at Careem. And then we also host Careem XP, which is when we take new joiners into the field. It's one thing to experience Careem in onboarding in the office and another one to be in the field. And just a quick wrap up of all the different events and experiences we had last year. We had 74 events globally. We had a series of different values trainings and road shows. We, of course, at Careem love social connection, and we do that through a variety of hosted lunches and coffee and chai mixers. Last year, we also really wanted to live our value of responsible for our communities through a variety of volunteer initiatives. And we strongly believe in recognition, and we have a values-based recognition program. And then there was a lot of other different fun activities, from fitness challenges to Ramadan iftars, and different ways for our colleagues to connect. So I want to get a little bit more into Values Fest. It was a music festival style themed day called Today Not Tomorrowland. And this happened simultaneously in every single office at Careem. It was a hybrid in-person style of event. It was one day where we focused just on values, no meetings, no traditional work happened. And it was a really awesome opportunity for everyone to dig deeper into our values and be able to have different team building experiences. So I'm just going to play a short video to give you a flavor on Values Fest. We had about 1,300 colleagues present, 98 innovation teams that came together to innovate and think about the next big idea at Careem. And also to live our purpose, we wanted to recognize our longest serving captains, who are really the bloodline of how we are able to deliver services to our customers. And let's take a look at Values Fest. And hopefully the video won't take too long to load. But it might. Hold on a segundo, guys. And while we're waiting for the video to load, I think what the significance of Values Fest is to let everyone know at Careem, we are a bit funky, we're a bit silly. And Values Fest was an opportunity for everyone to kind of live the values, learn about them. I don't know if this is actually going to load, but what we can do is share the link for everyone to watch. It is on our LinkedIn. And I encourage you to kind of take a look and see all the fun that we got into for Values Fest. Here's a couple different pictures. As you can see, everyone was in their cool Values Fest t-shirts. We had our values on the back of them. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see a group of colleagues innovating. Everyone had this awesome innovation session box, and it had all these different activities that needed to happen, which included making up a song and dance, thinking about the next big idea, recording it in a video. And it was just a really powerful team building day. And then we'll just like go through a few other pictures of what we do. We take volunteering very seriously at Careem. Here you can see colleagues as they volunteered their time, energy, resources, and even blood on World Blood Donor Day. We had several different initiatives across Ramadan and cleanups. We also had a variety of different office openings. Here you can see we had a new office opening in Amman, and we coupled that with a values roadshow. And generally just making sure that we are holding space for us to come together and build those connections. I believe this is it for culture and community. I know we're running up on time, so I'm going to pass it on over to our next segment. All right, so over to Haris and Neha. Yes, I am muted.
Hello, everyone. So back to myself and Haris, since we are from the tech and corporate TA teams at Careem, I think the main interest for everyone's probably going to be, how do we get in here? And are we suited for Careem or not? And I think I've seen a question in the chat already where someone's asking, how would I feel? How would I know if I'm the right fit for Careem? So we're going to cover most of these segments throughout here. So I'll take a start on basically what our hiring journey is. If you can please move on to the next slide. Cool. So let's get started based on how do we get here and what our hiring journey typically looks like. Pretty simple and basic when it comes to all other organizations as well. Step one, have your CV and apply, right? And with the purpose of this meeting, we've got 3 great platforms to begin. First would be the careers webpage of Careem itself. Then you've got LinkedIn, where most of our jobs are posted online. And now we have wonderful partnership with Localized. So you can definitely see a lot of our roles advertised there as well. Moving on, how it works is then obviously all your lovely candidates apply through these portals. We TAs get them through our system and then begin the assessments and kind of the vetting process of application review and the interviews. Basically, based on, depending on the role you're applying to and what grade you're applying to, the hiring process or the interview styles may differ. So the more junior their level would be, there will probably be lesser number of interviews, and the more senior we go up, then obviously you'll have a lot more engaging conversations with senior leadership. Once your interviews have been completed and you've progressed through all the rounds, we will then reach final stages, which is usually a reference check, where we send automated reference checks and forms to the final candidates, which they can fill out. And based on their hiring score, we are then eligible to make an offer, which is yay, equals to more money. Shall you accept our offer and we make a beautiful partnership with each other, you are then hired. So congratulations. It's a very smooth process and typically can literally last anywhere from between 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the complexity of the role. Next slide, please. Now, a little bit of context on basically what to maybe do before you apply is I would suggest definitely get to know Careem. We have a documentary that was released on our 10th anniversary, which I would highly recommend all of you to watch. It gives you an amazing insight on how Careem was formed, literally from the day where it started off from a room with 2 telephones, literally landlines, and the CEO of today making the first few bookings himself, right? So it's very, very inspiring to see how Such a small scale startup has now turned into a unicorn today. And just to give you an amazing insight to that, this documentary is actually available on Emirates Airline. So if you're flying anywhere, please just go to the documentary section and you can watch this. It's amazing to see. It's also available on YouTube. I'd also suggest you follow us on LinkedIn. You'll get a lot of information on, what kind of gatherings and events we're doing. As you've seen, Violet's gone over the whole culture and community segment as well. So we are very active in posting, the day-to-day lives at Careem as well. So you'll get to see a lot more about the culture and obviously the kind of work that we do through LinkedIn as well. Next slide. So basically, join our rocket ship now. I've already mentioned the different portals we have. Go on to jobs.careem.com. If you feel like there are roles online which are relevant to your profile, please go on and apply, whether it's through the careers webpage, through LinkedIn or Localized. Definitely one of us will be in touch with you and would love to kind of get to know you a bit more and explain what the process looks like in more details based on your profile. Haris, over to you for the next part.
Thank you so much, Neha. If we move to the next slide, thank you. I'll be talking about Careem Next Gen program, which focuses on engineering graduates, anybody who's got education in software engineering, computer science, data science, machine learning, etc. That's what this focuses on. A few years ago, we did some research in markets where we've got our tech hubs, which is basically Pakistan, Egypt, and Jordan. And we found out, which was extremely surprising for us, that there are over 25,000 new college graduates who graduate with a degree in computer science, software engineering, etc., from these three countries every year. Unfortunately, because of the limited number of big tech companies that are present in these locations, most of these engineers either end up working for IT services companies or have a skill set mismatch from what they exactly wish to pursue in their careers versus what the market has to offer. Or we have also observed, especially in the last couple of years, a huge amount of brain drain from these countries to places where there are more opportunities that are present. Two of our values at Careem is, number one, being committed to the development of each other, which not only includes our colleagues, but also people who are there in the community, and also showing responsibility towards our community. Over the last 11 years that since we've been in the market, we've seen that we have a responsibility to drive progress in our region and eventually build a lasting tech institution that hires the best talent and provides them with the best opportunities. And that is why we came up with Careem Next Generation. If we move to the next slide, please. The whole purpose of the Next Gen program is to give opportunities to young engineers, people who are fresh out of college to up to 4 or 5 years of experience, and help them accelerate their career by being exposed to the most complex engineering related challenges and problems that one can face in this specific domain. Over here, they're a part of our augmented teams. They work with our senior engineers. They are mentored by our senior engineers who have enough experience in the respective domain that they wish to be a part of. And then we ensure that they accelerate their career while they're here. This is where we teach them the best practices that are followed in the Silicon Valley. This is where we teach them how to build scalable products and services. And this is where we teach them how to work on products and services that are being used by millions of customers that Careem has across 10 different countries. And this is also a great experience for these engineers to work with the best talent who moved back from places like Google, Apple, Microsoft, etc., working in their head offices in the Silicon Valley, just to serve the region and help promote growth and more tech opportunities in the region. Our interview process, which can be seen in the next slide, is pretty simple for this. What we're looking for is somebody who has the right aptitude and the right mindset to grow with us, someone who's willing to learn, someone who's willing to unlearn and relearn a lot of the concepts that they already have. And we do this by first assessing their technical skills through a technical screening assessment. Once you're done with that, you go through a few coding interviews, primarily because for every role that we have here at Careem in our engineering teams, coding is a must-have for us. Then you meet the hiring manager, which is more of a conversation between you and the person who would be responsible for your growth. This is a great opportunity for you to evaluate whether this person is the right fit for you, while we also evaluate whether you're the right fit for us. And then we have a values and cultural fitness interview, as Violet has emphasized that values for us matter a lot, and we would love to hire the best people who are values aligned and who are the best cultural fit for us. This whole process, again, takes somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks to complete, depending on your availability as well as the interviewer's availability. However, our best efforts are to get this done within 15 days from the day you apply. Now over to Irtaza, who can answer any questions.
Awesome. So I think, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add one thing. With respect to our internship opportunities, actually, we've started an internship program, and we encourage a lot of you who are just fresh graduates and starting your careers to log into Localized, and you'll be able to see a lot of our intern roles, which are live, based in UAE, Jordan as well. So please definitely go in and have a look there as well. Just wanted to highlight that.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And thank you so much for the Careem team. This has been a very informative and quite comprehensive presentation. So thank you everybody for taking the time to prepare all of this. We do have a few questions in the Q&A, some questions in chat. And so I do encourage, we have a little bit of time left, so I encourage anybody that hasn't yet asked questions to please post your questions in the Q&A. Careem team, do you guys have any other slides that you'd like to share, or can we go ahead and start taking questions from the audience?
If it's okay, we actually have just a few questions that we would love Itza to answer, just to give them first-hand experience of somebody that is part of the Next Generation program. So I'll kick off with a question. Itza, maybe to start with, can you describe your role, your responsibilities in your current position to give everyone a flavor of the type of work that you do?
Yeah, right. So as I mentioned in my introduction, that I am a backend engineer, which basically means that everything that goes on behind the scenes is something that I'm involved with. In the Next Gen program, you are basically, you're helped with by seniors, by mentors to transition as a full-fledged backend engineer. And that comes with a few roles, and some of them under your belt are being on call for incident calls, migrating services, upgrading something from, let's say, an older version to a new version, fixing errors along that line. And what this helps you do is that as time passes, you get more and more familiar with how development at Careem works, and you fully understand how their code base operates. So once you transition out of the Next Gen program, you're well versed with how engineering works at Careem.
Thank you so much. And do you have a notable achievement that you can share with the group?
Yeah, definitely. So we've recently worked on onboarding a new service. So basically what we had earlier was just one service that would deal with food and parcel deliveries and any sort of deliveries at all. So what we did was we separated those services into different microservices that would help us scale better. So what I worked on was separating the parcel delivery service. It's called Order Anything. So we basically separated that from food to help scale better. So it was basically onboarding a completely new service.
Fantastic, thank you. And what would you say has been your biggest learning being part of the Next Generation program?
Honestly, being part of the Next Gen program comes with its perks, like being involved with senior engineering managers and staff engineers at Careem who have a plethora of experience, industry experience. Apart from that, what you get is access to Careem College, which I would say is tons of learning material, helps you grow as an engineer, gives you all the technical knowledge that you need. So yeah, it's been amazing in terms of learning as well.
Fantastic. And my last question, which I think will be very useful for this audience, is as someone who has successfully passed the interview process with Careem, what advice would you give to everyone on this call?
Yeah, so all I would like to say is that firstly, if you're interviewing for a technical role, you definitely need to be technically sound. And last of all, no matter what the role is, you need to be, hands-on, interested in Careem's mission to simplify people's lives. If you're in on that, I'm sure that you're a great fit for the company.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm sure the audience will have more questions. We can probably move now to broader Q&A.
Thank you for that. So I'm just curious, there's a few questions that we've already answered that I think would be useful for the rest of the audience to actually hear. So maybe I'll just outline or handpick a couple of the questions that have already been answered in the Q&A, and then we can move on to some of the open questions that we haven't yet gotten to. I think one of the questions that we often see is, if I'm not living in a city or country where a role is being advertised, am I able to apply? And based on the answers that I'm seeing, the question is yes, that would require potentially a relocation. So you would need to be in the city, either you relocate yourself to be able to apply for a role that's not in the city that you're currently living in. And I think just for an organization like Careem, because you guys have presence in so many different countries, definitely keep an eye out on Localized, on the Careem website for opportunities that come up. So there's always, in an organization like Careem, there's always new opportunities that will come up. So if there isn't an opportunity right now in the location where you're based, do keep looking at the website, because I think opportunities do come up regularly. And is that any of the Careem team want to add anything to that? Okay. And then the next question is, I think because our platform is full of younger students, so yes, there are the range of opportunities available within Careem, again, based on the questions that I've answers from Niha, there are opportunities, there are internship opportunities. So yes, absolutely, if you're a fresh graduate or you don't have many years of experience, there will be opportunities for you in Careem. If there isn't an opportunity available right now, again, often visit the website, often come on to Localized. New opportunities will be coming up on a very regular basis. Another question that I've seen often is, can somebody apply to more than one role at the same time? I think that's something that's often on people's minds. And the response is yes, you are able to do that. I believe you're only considered for one role at a time within Careem, but you can apply to more than one roles. Again, just as a piece of advice, when you're applying to a role, and Irza has mentioned that, make sure that you have the qualifications that role is asking for, right? So every role will have a clear job description. There are qualifications that are being advertised with every role. So make sure that you meet those qualifications. And if you do meet them, I think you are able to apply to that. You answered that question. Is there anything that you'd like to add on to that?
No, I think you've done a great job covering them. I think pretty much everyone has similar pattern of questions, and you've highlighted that. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I will be happy to take any questions that anyone else has. So let me just bullet point that again. So if can be anywhere in the world, and you can apply to Careem, but you'll be expected to relocate based on what role you're applying to and which country it's based in, right? The other question I think I just seen is, are there any remote opportunities? No. So anything that you're applying to, you will be expected to, again, relocate to that country. We do work on site, and we were a hybrid model operating company, but very soon we're shifting back into being in the office every day. So all our roles will be on site. However, Haris, I think you can add there may be some engineering roles which have an exception. So maybe that would be relevant to some of the audience here.
Absolutely. So if you're a software engineer and you're not in a managerial position, or if you're not at a senior position, then you'll be expected to work from the office for 2 days in a week. And for the rest of the 3 days, you can work from anywhere.
Also, I see a question. What's the tenure of Careem employees? Does this amazing culture mean that people join and stay for a long time? I wish I had done some research so I know exactly what the average amount of years is. But in my response, some people at Careem are basically a part of the furniture here. So I hope that answers your question. I'm very happy at Careem. I've been here a little bit over 2.5 years, Violet 3 years, Haris 3 years. So I think we're probably one of the peoples when people ask us, how long have you been at Careem? We'd be like, oh, feels like 10 years or something. So amazing culture, of course. Thanks to Violet for organizing such exciting events. So I hope that answers your question. Anything else?
There was a question about, we talked about the technical side there. There was a question about the non-technical roles, if there were non-technical roles. I believe, yeah, this is also something that's under your
Exactly.
area.
So tech roles, again, relating to all those software engineers, back end, front end, have not a clue, even though I'm an engineer, so please don't judge. But yes, we do have corporate roles at Careem, and they are ranging in different business functions. So stay from strategy and planning, operations, sales, account management, and et cetera, finance. So we do have a huge corporate team, TA here as well, catering to you'd say like, one of the fastest growing verticals. So across food, grocery, ride hailing, even central ops as itself. So yes, definitely there are tech and non-tech roles, both available at Careem.
And I'll just reiterate again, the best place when you're looking, for available opportunities, just visit the website regularly, right? It seems quite self-explanatory, but oftentimes people overlook that, right? It's really put on your bookmarks every couple of days, just go in and see what's new, right? I think that's pretty sound advice.
And just to, add to that, when we advertise from our end, it automatically gets published across all the job boards. So it's an easy situation where whatever you see that's live on LinkedIn or Localized, it is something that's live and being hired for. And we won't have certain jobs here and certain jobs there. So everything's very standardized as well.
And I will add one thing. So a benefit of Localized, guys, so if you're applying, I do suggest applying through Localized. We do maintain a close relationship with the Careem team. We will be looking at your applications directly. If we see a close match, we can have a more, I guess, a closer connection with the Careem team for that application. So a little bit self-serving, but look at Localized regularly. Again, apply through Localized, make sure that your profiles are complete.
Agree. To add to that, any profiles that come in through Localized, we directly get them tagged. So they will be prioritized because we do on our system then see certain profiles are coming in from Localized. And then obviously, because we have a great partnership, we will definitely make sure we prioritize these profiles and have a look at them at first. So I do encourage you all to do that.
And yeah, there's another question I think that could be relevant to the rest of the audience, which is if somebody has applied to a role at Careem and they didn't get accepted,
okay,
what recommendations would you give them?
Yeah, so it could be various scenarios, right? Say you've applied to Careem, but you've never heard back and you just got our beautiful, lovely automated rejection email. that probably means that your CV has been looked at but is not relevant for that specific role, or for some reason maybe we feel we have candidates that are stronger or fit better at the time. In which case I would still encourage you to continue applying to different roles. However, if you feel like you've applied, you've heard back from a TA, you were part of the interview process, and post that you got rejected with specific feedback, obviously based on what the feedback is, it then depends your path forward. Are you in a position to continue to apply to maybe a different vertical or a different function, and so on. So it depends on your situation, basically. If someone agrees or disagrees or has something to add, can you please add to it? Yeah.
One thing I'd add as well is during that time period, it's really about what you've done. So if you were given specific feedback that there was a part of maybe the technical interview where you just didn't show enough depth, and you spend the next 3 months just really upskilling yourself in that, then absolutely we welcome you to reapply. But the way I would recommend you do that is to go back to the recruiter that you had already formed a relationship with, and specifically tell them, these are all the things I've done to try and bridge this gap. Please, can I have another chance?
Agree.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be, I would say, the best way forward. So typically I would say you probably need to wait 6 months, but if you've gone above and beyond, feel free to do a bit earlier. Usually it's a year, but as I say, it's going to be dependent on what you've actually done to upskill for that particular gap.
Yeah, thanks for adding that, Alice. Actually, we have had a lot of cases in such case where candidates, work on themselves, come back a year later, they apply again, they leave us like a personalized note. I was missing XYZ, I've worked on it and I'm back now. And you will actually see some of them actually getting hired. So definitely would encourage to continue to apply, of course, and, continue to grow yourself in skill sets based on this feedback that you're getting from the team. Anything else? I read a question about relocation allowance. So I just want to highlight that. It is only applicable for a certain grade and above. So you would say probably manager level and above. Yes, we offer relocation allowance. And the way it's dependent is on the country of origin and the number of dependents you're relocating with. Unfortunately, at an internship level, we don't offer visa and relocation allowance. I saw that question as well. It's only because it is actually speaking from UAE markets perspective, it is anyway quite difficult to hire an intern for someone already based here just because of the legalities. So getting someone from abroad is totally out of the question when it comes to internships at that level.
So I have a few. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Just does Careem? No, that's the relocation question. It's the same thing. But what I thought it said was, does it sponsor families? So yes, all our full-time level roles, we offer medical and visa for spouse and up to 3 children, irrespective of the grade.
That's actually really cool, by the way. My question was gonna be for, understandably, if I'm applying to a technical role and there's clear requirements, right? That's pretty straightforward. I can work on those. I can attain those skills that are required. But sometimes that's not enough, right? So how can somebody that's applying to Careem, and I know that you guys receive hundreds, if not thousands, of applications for varieties of roles. How can I stand out in the application process? Is there something that I can do that's different just to make myself stand out to move into the next level? I'd love to hear any advice you can share on that.
I can take this one. So obviously for technical roles, your technical skills are evaluated through our assessments, through various interviews. But what do we do before that? That's where your resume comes into play. That's where your networking skills come into play, right? Have you been networking with a recruiter through various platforms? LinkedIn is the most approachable platform that's out there. Have you been using the same format that everybody else is using to add your credentials in your resume? how do you present your projects? How do you present your overall work and experience that you've done in your resume? Is your CV relevant to the job that you're applying for? Have you focused on the right skills, on the right projects, etc.? That's the first step. At a later stage, once you're in the interview process, assuming there are two candidates, both of them have the same credentials, they did exactly the same in the interview process. Eventually, it's about our last step, which is the values and cultural fitness interview. How values aligned are you with Careem? How purpose driven are you? And how good of a culture fit are you? That's what differentiates candidates for us at the end of the day.
And so I'd love to have a follow-up question. Maybe this could be for Violet. In terms of, it might be, sometimes it's difficult to showcase values within like the initial stages of the recruitment process. Is that something that you guys are looking for early on, or does that something that comes into play later on in the interview process after you've established from a technical side your fit?
I think that's a really good question. And the number one thing I can say is due diligence. Even for myself, I had courted Careem for several years before I joined. And I actually joined from Lahore. And for me, Careem changed my life as a woman. It was very difficult to get around. When Careem came, it changed everything for me, my friends, my family members. I was able to re-enter the workforce after a little hiatus. So what I would say is do your homework, read up on Careem. There's so much content out there, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, it's there. Read up on our values, and values are so important from the moment that you submit your application to that first phone call to all the conversations you have. There is enough information for you to be able to learn, but we're really looking for candidates that live our values, and there are ways for you to take in the values and find ways to bring that to life from your own personal, professional, or even scholarly experiences.
That's a very clear answer, actually. Thank you for that. And that actually, I think, feeds in nicely into my next question. I assume this works if somebody doesn't yet have a lot of experience, or they're not the right I guess, type of experience. I guess showcasing that they live the values of Careem helps. But is there any other advice that you guys can share for, let's say, a university student, fresh graduate? They don't have a lot of experience under their belt. What can they do to better, I guess, qualify themselves to be considered for an opportunity in Careem? Do you guys have any advice for our audience in that regards?
I have something really small, I guess. There is a similar question in the chat as well. What if my prior internship doesn't align with the current full-time role I'm applying for, or an internship I'm applying for? Adding to Violet's point, aside from the values and culture fit as well, I feel like it's also soft skills that can potentially, shape someone's career path maybe slightly differently. So speaking from my own personal experience, say I'm an electrical engineer, but as soon as I finished my graduation, the first internship I scored was in a recruitment agency, right? And that then kind of highlighted my soft skills, which were being a people's person and maybe being in something that, required a lot more people interaction. So it's not usually just based on exactly, okay, if I don't have a specific degree or so on and so forth, I can only apply to certain job roles. And I'm obviously not suggesting you change your career path in a crazy way like I did, but what I'm trying to get at is sometimes at that level, as a fresh graduate, it's really important to get that exposure, be it for 3 months, 4 months. And I think it really shapes you as a person as well. So do take a think about, aside from what's on paper, who you are as well, and maybe what kind of skills you want to build on. And maybe that way you can also be exposed to different opportunities and build on yourself.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I'm conscious of time. We have about 2 minutes left. There's still a few. I believe we've answered the vast majority of the questions. There's some that we haven't gotten a chance to answer. But from the localized side, what we will do is we will take note of all the questions that we have not answered, and be sure we can reach out to the Careem team separately and then come back to some of our audience where relevant. I just because we have about 2 minutes left, I just want to give, if any of the panelists from Careem would like to give just any parting words or any last words of advice for young people looking to apply to roles at Careem. Is there any just parting bits of advice that you'd like to share?
I'll give one bit of advice. We actually had a very interesting article go out last year, which is 5 reasons not to join Careem. It seems very strange that I'm recommending that you read this, but I myself have only been at Careem for 5 or 6 months, and I found that very interesting. And I truly believe no company is right for everyone. You know, you've got different companies that are right for different personality types, working styles. So actually my advice is read that, be comfortable with the environment that Careem is, and if that is right for you, please apply, please come and join us. If it's not, as I say, it isn't the working place for everyone. So bit of strange advice, but that would be the one from me.
Thank you for sharing that. Would anyone else like to add any last parting words? And you've all already given us so much advice. So like I again, thank you everybody. Thank you guys for your time today. This has been hugely insightful, beneficial. I think anybody that's interested in applying to Careem is probably in a much better position now than they were for attending. As I mentioned, guys, this is our attendees. This session is recorded. Anybody can come into the same URL, watch this recording. Please let your friends, your colleagues know about this. Careem team, thank you guys so much. We look forward to continuing our partnership. We have, I think, a little bit of work to do after this event to filter through the candidates, make sure that we direct people in the right pathways within Careem. I look forward to working with my colleague Catherine on this going forward. Thank you everybody for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Have a great afternoon.